Alright, okay, cool. You said you don't understand. Alright, so pretty much we were on two different pages, alright? I thought you already had understood from the course as how pretty much, Because I've seen it, I've been through that course before. So I thought you were already familiar. I didn't know you were familiar how to find a buyer, but that's how I find a buyer. But to answer the question, said when a buyer contacts you, are you going to pre-screen them first or show them property first? All right, when a buyer contacts you, see, I thought you already knew all that, but okay. When a buyer contacts you, yeah, you can pre-screen them. Well, hmm, not really, because if you try to pre-screen them, I mean, a lot of times it just depends on how motivated they are. If they really want this project, I mean, if they're interested in it, I mean, you can go ahead and look at it. I mean, you can go ahead and let them look at the property. I mean, you're not the one that's going to be showing them anyway. But you would really want to you want to ask them, do they have the down payment first? That's the main thing. You just want to ask them, what's the down payment? What's the credit score like? Do they have any recent foreclosures or any bankruptcy files? And that's pretty much it. And then you go ahead and let them then you go ahead and call the seller and let them look at the property. Then you say you also didn't get the okay, well you don't need to have them sign the contract. Well you can, but I mean you don't have to. That's just in case they try to call the police on you. What you said, we said, what am I going to do with the seller? Should I send an email, contract, and explanation to rental process? I thought you already explained to them what the rental was. I mean, if they were willing to agree to do it, then you should already explain to them up jump what exactly the rental own process is. You need to call them and explain them the process. Just let them know everything, the whole details about start to finish as far as how you're gonna be marketing the property. You're gonna be bringing buyers through. They're going to be you're gonna be bringing buyers through. Um, and that explaining to them how it works as far as the buyer putting the money down. Make sure they understand that they don't get any money up front, only the rent. You get your fee, and that's it. Make sure they also understand. Make sure they understand as far as that you're gonna screen the buyer out, that you're gonna make sure that they're employed. You're gonna make sure they have okay credit, or not okay, but just good enough credit to where it's not tarnished by foreclosures or short sales. You know what I'm saying? You need to explain to the seller exactly what the rent to own process is, and if you got the course, um, I think he has a section in there where he talks about how to explain to the homeowner exactly what a lease to own is. But you know what a rent to own is. Just explain it to the homeowner. All right. Contract and what? An explanation of rent to own. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you can see the thing is you want to build your buyers list. Okay, that's really really important. So you can put the property out there, and you can go ahead and get people inquiring about it. Once they inquire about it, just ask those questions about the credit, foreclosure, bankruptcy, how much money they have to put down, how fast can they close. And as soon as they tell you that information, call the seller and let them know, hey, look, I got a buyer. When are you free to show the property? All right. You said, what should I tell the seller when I get the buyer contact them? You tell the seller exactly what I just said. You say, hey, I got a buyer looking to look at your property. They're looking to do a rent to own. When are you available so they can look at it? They said they got, they said they can move in as fast as possible. So I want to get them to look at the property as fast as possible so they can make a decision. When are you free? Are you free on this day? You want to make sure you get the buyers. You want to make sure you get the buyers times and see when they're free, so then you can let the seller know, hey, they're free this time. Are you available? Okay, you said you need to know about what I should tell the buyer and seller when I get them on the line. Well, you know what to tell the buyer. You ask the buyer those questions. And then you ask them what time can they look at the property. That's when you say, okay, well I'll give you a call back so I can check with the seller to see when the seller's available. Call the seller and say, hey seller, I got a buyer that want to look at this property on this day. Are you free? Can you make yourself available so they can look at this property? They want to do a rent to own. They can afford the rent. All right. I'm checking them out as we speak. I'm making sure they have a job. Making sure that I'm calling their employment. You're gonna get their employment information so you can verify that they work there. You want to check their credit report on. Check their credit. Okay, they got Plenty of websites. They got myfreecreditreport.com. They got creditreport.com. They got they got my I think they got something else. I can't remember that website. But they have if you Google free credit report, you can easily get a free credit report from and you want to just find out how much they make, how much they pull in a year, and that lets you know they can afford the rent and if they can afford to pay this property. I mean, and all the seller's gonna do is show the property for you. Now I'm not gonna get into what happens next once the buyer likes the property. That's a whole nother subject. I don't want to kind of overload you. I want you to get the buyer first. You know, get the buyer to the property, coordinate it with the seller so the seller can show the property. They have the buyer call you once the buyer is done. Uh, what the fuck? I'm sorry, man. My fucking fiance is calling me. She's calling me, which I don't know why. Anyway, I'm sorry, man. That was a quick little pause. When a buyer contacts you, what am I going to tell them? Then what am I going to tell the seller? Okay, yeah. Well, you know, now you know. Now you know. Now you know. Now you know what you're gonna tell the seller. You're gonna tell the seller exactly what I just said. The buyer calls you. You ask them those questions. Make sure they got money to put down. Make sure they can afford the rent. Ask them how much they make a year. Then you're gonna say we need to look at the house. Okay, let me call the seller. Hey seller, what's up? Buyer, you know, I'm back again. Remember I'm the guy with the rent to own. You know, you understand what a rent to own is? Okay, well I got a buyer that wants to look at the property because they want to move into it immediately. They like it. When are you free? They're free on this day. You free on this day? Okay. Call the buyer and say, hey, look, he's free on this day. You coordinate between each other. They go look at it. Seller, the buyer comes out. Buyer calls you. Hey, Mike, I want this property. You ask them. Once they say you want the property, boom, you're in there, man. That's all you need to know. It's really easy to coordinate. It's really all you're doing is coordinating between the buyer and the seller. All right. There's nothing to it. Cool. Let me know. Let me know if you got another question. All right. Peace.